o engenheiro Guy Tozzoli. Would you please come? So, Guy, they told me that your office, you have an office, you had an office at the World Trade Center.
That's right. There are 320 World Trade Centers in 100 countries.
320
World Trade Centers in 100 countries that belong to the World Trade Centers Association. And the headquarters office is in Tower 1 on the 77th floor.
Wow, that's amazing. And how come you weren't there this day? It was just a coincidence, a lucky.
Someone up there, God blessed me, yes.
Yeah.
I usually take 1 hour and 10 minutes to drive to work from New Jersey. And I left at 7 o'clock in the morning. And 10 minutes after I left, I changed the direction in which I was going. I had an alternate route.
I see.
And about halfway there was a 1 in a million chance a terrible bus accident stopped me for 45 minutes.
It's amazing.
So what happened was I never reached my office. I reached a tunnel, which is 1 mile across from the river, called the Holland Tunnel. And I looked up and I saw the first tower burning. And
that, your office was on the first tower?
Yes,
right?
but on the 77th floor, and I can tell from having put the project together since 1960. That's when we started working on it.
Right.
I saw that my office looked like it was safe because the plane hit about 10 or 12 floors above my office. It hit about 89 or 90. But there was a gigantic hole in the North Tower, and smoke was coming out.
Right.
So the first thing I did is I called my office to make sure that the people had left. And then they stopped traffic, and I got out and was talking to some of the people in other cars. And suddenly I saw the second plane.
Second.
Yes. And it came from the south, and as it was speeding toward the tower, he actually accelerated the engines. And I saw it go up and strike about the 60th floor. It went in this side, came out the other side of the tower, and that's a city block.
Yeah, I know that.
And a great smoke and fire came of that. And I must tell you, my first reaction was those poor people above us. They have no chance. And then the second feeling that I had, since I had been working on this since I was a young man, if you would call it, and I had immense sadness.
Well, I can believe you, of course.
And I'll be honest with you, I cried.
Sure.
And then I became very angry because I knew that some terrible fanatics, had to be that, were destroying property and killing people. And it was ironic to me because our Association of World Trade Centers, and you have a great World Trade Center here in Sao Paulo, that one of the underlying features of the World Trade Centers Association is if I understand your culture, I will not make war with you. I will not hurt you. We do business together.
Right.
And so here was an organization whose headquarters was in a World Trade Center dedicated to stability and peace. And somebody was trying to destroy it.
But I think that's exactly why it was chosen as a symbol. I mean, to destroy everything that it represented, not only the trade-like image of it, but also the peacemaking, the getting to the bottom of things through negotiation, right? And that's exactly what they didn't want to do.
I saw a tape of bin Laden last week, and he said, I destroyed two great buildings of the United States. Not a World Trade Center, two great buildings. They did. They symbolized the United States in their mind. Anyway.
Even the new King Kong picture, the first one was filmed on the Empire State Building. The second one, the last one, was on
our tower.
Well, yes, exactly. So it was really a symbol. And you told us that you were in your car and you saw when you saw the first plane and the building burning, and you said, okay, people under it will have time to get out of there, but they didn't. They didn't have, not all of them. They didn't have time to get out of the building, right?
This is very interesting. The architect wanted two towers when we built them, and he decided that the strength to resist the wind would be in the outside walls. So those buildings were stronger than any other high-rise towers in the whole world. So what happened because of that, any other tall building would have fallen over immediately. One stayed up for an hour and a half, the other for about 40 minutes, and 25,000 people escaped.
How many escaped?
25,000 people escaped. It was amazing that it lasted that long. And it was, you know, a terrible, terrible incident. And we were just lucky that the architect had decided to design the building that way.
Otherwise, the casualties would be
5 or 6 times more, absolutely.
And what was the worst thing? The plane, when the plane just got crashed into the building, or the fire that came out of it?
No, it was the fire from the fuel, because they hijacked airplanes that were what needed to go across the country.
Sure they were.
And then they came down almost immediately in the first, say, 30 minutes that they were flying. So the planes were filled with fuel.
Fuel, yeah.
And that fuel spread all through the floors, if you would. In fact, even down into the elevator cores, there were explosions below, and it melted the steel. That's why the buildings collapsed inside.
Yeah. Because when I was seeing on TV, it looked like it was not an explosion, but an implosion.
Implosion, correct.
Because it came inside.
Yes.
And that's because of the fire. That's because of the fuel.
Absolutely. Melted the steel between the outside wall and the elevator core, so the floors fell in. And then everything else collapsed after that.
What we heard here and what we saw in the news, that for insurance purposes, not both towers were insured, because it could never occur to someone that something would happen to both towers at the same time. For the same reason, after the first airplane went into the first tower, people on the second tower could never imagine, because I think that, first of all, they thought it was an accident, the first impression. And I think a lot of people from the second tower didn't run to get out of there, or not?
First of all, I'm glad you asked me the question. Number one, 2 towers are insured.
Oh, both are insured.
Yes.
Because that's something that...
Yeah, right, everybody. I heard that report.
You heard that already?
Yeah, in fact, it started somewhere in the United States and Europe. And there's a technicality, but both were insured, okay?
Okay.
And let me tell you what happened. Under normal circumstances, there is an alert that comes on the public address system. Here's what happened. The first tower was hit at 8:48 a.m., okay? Those people were told to vacate.
Those people on the first tower, right.
Now, the second tower is actually about 110 feet away, and it stands independently of number 1. Those people were told to stay in that tower, because under a normal circumstance, even if Tower 1 were the only one hit, the people in Tower 2 would not have been hurt.
Of course not.
Right. So they were told to stay. After the plane hit the second tower, no announcements came. So that was too bad. However, we do know that all of the people below the fire, almost all of them got out, except those that stayed behind to help other people. There were injured people in that thing.
Of course,
there were people who couldn't walk. There's a one story that I know, every time I had lunch, there was a blind man with a dog. And I used to talk to him every day. And his dog took him down 60 floors in Tower Number 1. That
and
dog
Tower Number
took him
1.
down. Yeah, in Tower Number 1. That dog took him down and took him out. And that was incredible. So many stories of people who miss things. You know, you see, I missed because of that bus accident. In '93, there was a bomb placed, if you'll remember.
Sure, sure.
And I'm a lucky man, I think, because if it took me an hour and 10 minutes to get to work, I planned on that day to leave at 10 after 11, be in the garage between 12:15 and 12:20, February 26th, Friday. That day, I took the other route that I didn't take, and I got there in 1 hour. I passed the bomb truck in the garage alley. I didn't know that. Parked my car, went up to my office. The bomb blew at 12:18, and the only 6 people killed were the people in the garage.
Yeah, only the people. You're sure you're not a suspect in all that? Don't you have any connections?
I have a connection with my mother, I think, in Aviv. Yeah.
Because this is really amazing. Already the first attack, I'm not talking about the planes, I mean the bombs in the garage, shocked everybody. There were pictures made about it, but it didn't affect the image, the symbol of the World Trade Center. But now I feel that New York will never be the same. Because when I see a film now and I see the World Trade Center, I say, well, it isn't there anymore. I used to buy ties in a place called Tie Rack that is
absolutely one of our tenants.
Exactly.
Made good ties too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right there on the lower floor, down on the shopping center that there is down there. It just vanished.
I know.
Right? So, do you intend, the New York State and everybody, I mean, they intend to rebuild the towers?
They intend to rebuild at the site. No one has really decided yet what should be put there. I have my own ideas. First of all, 5,000 people or more were killed.
Yeah, more than.
Yeah. If I were planning what should be built, I would start with a peace plaza, with the names and a symbol of dedication, if you would, to the people that were killed. After that, one would have to make a decision. Should you build it as they were? Probably not. I think they might do it differently. But don't underestimate people from New York.
No, I don't.
They bounce back very quickly, and they really do. And this is a horrible incident. And
I think it's the worst that ever happened in New York.
I heard that.
In New York.
No, believe me, I've seen on television some of the real people who said this could be one of the worst things that happened in this last 100 years in terms of a major event that has so affected the world. So many people visited those towers. Remember, 250,000 people used to pass through that World Trade Center every single day. And people went to windows on the world at the top. They went to the observation deck.
And all the other traditional department stores that were around. There was a Brooks Brothers in front of it. I don't know if it was affected by the bombing. A big store of Brooks Brothers right across the street. I don't know if all the buildings around were also affected by it.
Yes, quite a few buildings were affected by it. Lower Manhattan was dealt a very severe blow. Mayor Giuliani said, the governor said, President Bush said, we will rebuild, and they will. But what shape it will take, we're not sure yet.
But they thought now they've lightened it up a little, if possible. They told me that you had there a fantastic collection of dolls. You collect dolls.
I do.
And did you find any survivor in the rubble?
I had dolls from 100 different countries, given to me sometimes by leaders of countries because they knew I was a doll collector. And 2 nights after the incident, I was watching CNN, and suddenly I saw somebody holding up a doll, 2 of my dolls. But the reporter gave a very good story. They said, the reporter was saying, there must have been a nursery taking care of young children. So
Yes, you're the baby. And
So I said to my wife, please, call them up and tell them they're my dolls. So she called while the person was on TV, and the said, the dolls are the man who built this, and he hung up. He wouldn't believe it, so they wouldn't change the story. It was better for it to be a nursery.
oh,
Okay?
so you lost the 2 dolls also.
I lost the 2 dolls.
But I'm going to give you a doll for you to start your new collection. Alex, me traz aqui la muñeca, por favor, which is a very traditional Brazilian doll from Bahia. That's a baiana, okay? Do you like it?
I love it. It's a great doll.
Did you have a doll?
I had a Brazilian doll.
You had?
Yes, I
But
did.
from Bahia also?
No, not from Bahia.
Okay, that's
No.
the more typical that you can get, okay?
I think this is very fitting because our association is meeting for the first time after the incident at the World Trade Center here.
In São Paulo.
Yeah, we needed to, etc. And think of that, to discuss what happened, what's our future as far as the association is concerned. And everybody has agreed. We go forward even more so than we did before of promoting stability and peace. And we promote one other thing at this Trade Center. We have a film fair of Brazilian film.
Brazilian, yeah, I know that.
And we're promoting a little story that a man that I'm talking to created.
And you're also nominated 4 times for the Nobel Prize, the Peace Nobel
Peace
Prize.
Prize, yeah.
Peace Prize.
Yeah.
I hope that next time you get it. You should, okay?
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much
Right.
for being on the show. Eu conversei aqui com Guy Tozzoli, daqui a pouco a gente volta. Thank you.